What's up? We're live. We're live. What's up, guys? John Sintez here. Cutternation podcast number 35. Got an awesome guy on here. But first, you know what? Go over to my online store. Check out my awesome gear. Love these tri-blend tees. They're probably my favorite. Wear it every day. Probably need to get a new one. This one's probably worn out. Got some hats coming in soon. Got some new patches and some things I'm working on. Also, don't forget to go check out Body Armor. They got their Focus Fix, which is a great little thing for you anytime you're feeling a little bit sluggish or anything. But it's sugar-free, gluten-free, no artificial flavors. I love this for just to drop into some water, as well as their omega-3s with their brain food is what they call it, which is to help you focus, recover a little bit better. And then also we got Canned Nutrition with some awesome protein over here. I love this stuff because of this little secret right here. It's got MCT oil and zero sugar. So those are huge for your development, everything you're trying to do there. They also make what's called a clean creatine, which I'm a big fan of also. So go check them out. I got a discount code. I think it's JSintez, but I'll put it on the link in the description of this from here. Without further ado, we have Matt. All right. Rossignol.
Pretty good.
I
That's it.
struggled with it terribly, but hold on one second. I got you muted. 1 second. One more time. You there?
Yep.
All right, there we go. Matt, what's up, man? Let's correct me one more time. Get me going right.
Matt Rossignol.
Rossignol. I was close. I was very close.
No, that was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Right on. So, Matt, let's find out a little about you. Where are you from? Where are you at now? And what you doing?
I'm originally from Southern California, Thousand Oaks, California, to be exact. And then about 12 years ago, I moved up to the Bay Area. And right now I'm currently in Scotts Valley, California. And it's right in between Santa Cruz and San Jose, to be exact.
Right on. Right on. Is it cold up there right now?
A lot colder than it's usually. This morning, I think it was like 30, 32 something degrees, but the sun's coming out right now, so at least it's starting to break.
Ooh, this morning it was like 41 this morning here. So
yeah.
What's up, January, San Diego? Let's figure it out, huh?
That's not normal for you guys, man.
No.
It's supposed to be the prettiest place in the world.
I haven't been here that long, so it's definitely like, all right, this is back in Florida where I'm from. I'm totally used to this, but it's at that time it's more like humid and windy and everything. So it's not very fun to be in Florida right now where I'm from. So, all right. Thousand Oaks. Now you're in the north. So you run Rossi Training, correct?
Rossi's Training. That's correct.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your program and what you're trying to accomplish up there.
I got into it started with working with high school athletes, and when I got done playing, I wanted to give athletes a avenue to learn to properly train and kind of give them the tools to help them improve their game on the field. And so opened Rossi's Training. Started out of a garage, and then about 2.5 years ago, I moved into my own facility, and now currently looking to expand into a facility that has bringing some tunnels, some mounds, and kind of blend the two.
Yeah, really just trying to cross over. That's kind of what my goal was when the place that I was at before. I saw the vision of what I was trying to do, and I just realized that where I was at was not the environment that I wanted to be. I didn't really want to be at a baseball facility with tunnels and stuff like you were talking about. I wanted to be more in a gym that I could modify for more of a pitching style thing. So there wasn't, really just working on throwing and pitching and stuff like that. There could be a plan in the future, kind of like you, trying to expand to get to tunnels and stuff. But as of right now, that's just not the exact thing I'm trying to do, because I just feel like you're saying, and we were talking about a little bit off air, is I feel like the way that we're training kids to get better at throwing in baseball, and it's such a major part of the game, but I just don't feel like a lot of teams and coaches respect throwing enough,
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing I learned at the end of when I was done playing, and then the more and more now, is how much the gym and how much movement transfers over to how we throw, and so how much they're able to blend together. And if we learn how to move right, we can learn how to throw right and just move overall on the field just that much better.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's go over your playing career, because like I said, I like to go in cold, not knowing too much about you. But where'd you play, and what about let's start in maybe high school and see how you're doing.
Yeah, so I started at Thousand Oaks High School. I was there for 3 years, and then my senior year, I actually moved up to Pleasanton up here in the Bay Area, and I finished out here. I went back to Southern California for a year of junior college, and just didn't really like it. And one of the junior colleges that had recruited me when I was in the Bay Area my senior year, I went back there for a year, Chabot Junior College, and that was a really good experience. Learned a lot. Really taught me a lot about the game and just how to approach the game. And then I went to Bethany University for my last 2 years, and then after that, I went and played independent ball for 3 years, and then that was that.
Where'd you play indie ball?
I started in St. George, Utah. About halfway through the year, our team ran out of money, so we shut down. And then I finished up that season in Washington Wildcats in the Frontier League. And then the next year, I went to Sioux City, Iowa. Started in the American Association, and finished that year in Roswell with the Roswell Invaders of the Pecos League. And then the last year, I was in Arizona.
Sorry about that. My mother-in-law needs my keys. Give me 1 second. Okay.
No problem.
You get it, girl? Sorry about that, girl. Small break. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah. So what was the Utah League? What was the name of that league?
That was the was it the Western League?
Yeah, I think that's what it sounds about. Like I heard the Western League or the Golden League or something like that.
The Golden League.
Yeah, that's what I heard of that too. So how old are you?
31.
30. Okay, so I'm 32. So we were right around the same era in that time frame right there.
Where did you play?
So my senior year in college, I broke my elbow and missed 3 years with 2 surgeries, got all the way back, and then went to one of those cattle call tryouts, and then made the spring training invite with, it was in Cleveland, Lake Erie. I was in Lake Erie, made it all the way to the last day, did really well, didn't give up a run, struck out one guy an inning, did my job, and they just went, well, we got some guys returning, and you're a rookie, so we have no idea. So they just basically let me go, and then 4 hours later called me and were like, hey, we actually traded you or put you on waivers to the Pecos League. So I spent 2 years in the Pecos League, and I knew what I was going into before. I was lucky enough to do as much research as I could, and I found this blog forum. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but this girl runs it. She's awesome. It's called Indie Ball Island. And oh man, I got to get her on here just because she just tells all the stories that the players don't. It's like having a source to get bad information out without anybody getting in trouble, And she wrote a bunch of blogs about the Pecos League and basically told it exactly for where it was, hey, you can get out of here, but you're going to make this much money a month and it's not good, but you just got to understand it. And that's the way I looked at it. I was like, well, if I'm ever going to get a real shot, I got to play somewhere. You have to do something. You can't just sit at home. Yeah. So I just took the sacrifice and went there and played 2 seasons. And then I got lucky and met a guy, and he introduced me to go play in Mexico because he thought I was decent enough to give it a shot. So
who did you play for in the Pecos League? Because I was there for half a season.
So I was with White Sands for a year.
Okay.
And for half a year, and then I got traded to Santa Fe.
Okay, yeah, so I was with Roswell for half the season.
Okay, what year was that?
9, 10. I would say 11.
So was that the first year or second year of the Pecos League?
I think it was the second year.
I think it was. So I think I was. We had to have played against each other then because I think I was with White Sands, and I know I pitched against Roswell at Roswell. I remember that was trippy altogether,
I think who was your coach?
The Johnson or whatever, Kevin. I think it was Kevin Johnson or something like that.
Oh yeah.
The young dude with the mullet.
Yeah, I think I think I know.
Yeah. That's funny. Weird.
Yeah.
Of course, we crossed paths. Weird.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
Baseball's like that.
Yeah, exactly. So same league. So you know the struggle. I know the struggle. That's what it is. And so let me ask you this. I think because of my experiences and how I because it was so bad, and I started analyzing what could be better about this on all aspects and how could I learn from it. I really took that into telling the stories and the training side of stuff on how guys continue to get better. Is there anything that you took from your indie ball experience or your pro experience that you transfer and try to help your kids understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think not just, I mean, my whole playing experience. Like I was telling my guys yesterday, we were out throwing, and at the end of it, we were talking and just sitting around talking for a little bit. And I was like, a lot of the stuff I tell you guys to do, I work on or preach about, is stuff that either I wish I would have known or from mistakes that I've learned from myself. And so I don't just like say this stuff for no reason. It has a purpose, and some of the stuff that I harp on that probably sounds like little things are because it's from either mistakes that I've made or things that I've learned from my experiences.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I honestly think anybody can throw 90 miles an hour. It's not if, it's when. If you understand, I don't know if you follow Dr. Heenan, but,
yeah.
A lot of people are up in arms about his 90 mile per hour formula. And I think the thing that people get confused about, and I want to know your opinion, is the word formula. Because it sounds like if you do this, like almost like a recipe, do these things and you'll throw 90 or 95 or whatever. But I think that if he were to maybe rename it to not formula or something else that meant like test or something from there, like it's just a way, if you can test yourself, if you can do those things, those metrics that he wants, then in theory, you should be able to throw 90. So I put myself through it, even, I pull down 93, 92, still, actually Monday I did. But it's how I kind of do it because I'm still active throwing. I'm not sure if you are, but it makes it easier for me to communicate the feeling to the kids on what we're trying to do. Is that a style, can you talk about a little bit Heenan and your process with that stuff too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Dr. Heenan's formula, I mean, it gives you simple instructions of what to follow, what to work towards. If you get towards these goals, then you're going to put yourself in a position to throw 90. I think people get all caught up in, it's 400 pounds or 1.5 times your body weight in the reverse lunge, and they think it's so far away, and so they kind of like, this formula is too much or this or that. But really, it's something for you to work towards, and if you hit this, then you're going to put yourself in a position to throw 90. I really do like the formula. I've talked to Dr. Heenan a couple times, and he's a really smart dude, so I definitely believe in the formula, and I think it gives you guidelines. And I think anytime you give athletes something to work towards, it gives them direction, and that's they just got to follow the steps and work towards it if they're willing to.
Yeah, I agree. He's, I think that piece of information was so vital in the process of the baseball player who's just kind of on his own. Me coming from a small town, I don't really know Thousand Oaks, California very well, but, I had nobody that, I think there might have been one pitching coach guy, but from what I had heard from other people, you just kind of went through bullpens. And even me at a young age, I was kind of like, well, I can do that on my own. Like, what's he going to help me with?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would have probably educated me and stuff from there. But, I just didn't. The people that were telling me about private instruction and all that were telling me it was a waste of time and this and that. And it's kind of ironic now that I am in the field and I on the flip side of it. And you're like, well, extra work's extra work. Like, you got to do whatever you can to get as best as you can,
Absolutely. I think like kind of what you're talking about is stuff you see. And I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff that he's posted recently about guys who've kind of just taken the formula on their own, no instruction, and they've gone out and seen the improvements. And that's, at the end of the day, I think that's what it is a lot of these. If you can give all the kids the direction or the plan. It's whether they're willing to actually go and go after it, because they might see a 400-pound deadlift and think, wow, that's a pretty tough task, or 300-plus yard long toss. But if they work towards it, build up, and just keep trying to make little increments every day, they're going to it's actually possible, and it's something that should be obtainable.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, it's what you put into it. A lot of people, I think that's why the style of gym that I'm at and stuff like that, it really changed the game on what I'm trying to do, because, and I want to know your opinion on this, because there's a big debate right now in year-round throwing or not year-round throwing. A lot of people, a lot of these people that are probably much smarter than me think that you should have a down period where you're able to build and have a phase of building and working and trying to get the muscles as strong as possible as you can. And then you go back and revamp the arm and continue to go from there. What do you feel like your way of going about it is do you feel that, are you a year-round or are you a partial year-round guy?
The more I learn, the more I think that there should be some type of down period. And I've seen some of my guys have really good success with taking a little time off, building their arm back up, kind of get their body moving and their shoulder moving properly again. And when they come back, everything seems to clean up. Their body starts moving better, and they're not compensated from when their arm's tired and beat down throughout a long season. One of the things I wish I did is took a little bit of at least some time off, especially when I was in indie ball and trying to, like, everything to me was, how am I going to get picked up? How am I going to get picked up? How am I going to get picked up? And so I just never stopped throwing. I was throwing year round. And I know it wasn't so much that I got hurt, but just my arm just had nothing left in the tank come when I needed it, basically, in the games. So I think having a time where you can build up, get stronger, kind of that's where your focus is going to be huge for you in the long run, and help you help your arm kind of put in a better position when you need it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go further into that, because that's an interesting thing that you're saying, that, even yourself, you were trying to do everything you can. So can we go into what you were doing throwing? Do you remember that process? Like, when you say throwing, for the average person, they might think it's just throwing here. Do you mean like that you were throwing pens, that you were long tossing? Like, can you go in a little more in depth into what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, so let's say independent ball, just in terms of that, we're usually done September-ish, I would say, beginning of September. And so, I mean, from there, I'd maybe take 1 or 2 weeks off, and I was back long tossing after that. And then from there, I remember October, November, and I was still throwing pens. And one year, one of the times I did throw for some scouts in the off season was in October, November, so I had to stay in shape to do that. But I will say, after, I think it was and this kind of is a little bit different, but at the end of, I think, my first year, it was a combination of things, but over innings and just getting weak. I mean, I would say like an 8 to 10 mile an hour drop off on velo by the time the season was over.
Wow, really? That's crazy. So what was your velo? Like, what was your peak velo at?
My best velo was 93, and then I sat probably 89 to 91, and that's where I was for the most part. But I mean, then when it comes to like body weight and a lot of the things that we've learned now about like long distance running and stuff like that, it kind of hit me dead on after my rookie season. I was in St. George, Utah, where it was like 115 every day.
Ooh.
And it was basically just like Arizona. When I played in Arizona, it was no worse. But it was long distance running, just all that stuff, not eating enough food, and I lost. I think at the end of the season, my wife made me jump on the scale, and I was like, I didn't want to, but she's like, you just got to do it. You look. She basically told me I looked horrible and was too skinny, and I had lost 22 pounds throughout that season, and that was part of the reason I had such a huge drop in velo. I finished at like 82, 83, and I remember like thinking something's wrong with these guns. Like these radar guns are not. And then it's kind of now like going back over it and whatnot. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I was a little bit of a long distance runner too for a little bit, and then the more you run, you're just like running sucks, just terrible. Yeah. And that was one of the things, revamping my whole training situation. I was fortunate enough to really, when I was rehabbing, one of the times I was able to talk to one of the guys at API, which is a Advanced Performance Institute over in Pensacola, and where I'm from over there, and they were just talking about just try to become as strong as you possibly can. And that was one of the recommendations they gave to me. And I really tried to embrace that situation. I got up to 96 post Pecos League, just kept going. And so my debate that I'm having personally right now is, after the Pecos League and getting into Mexico, I played for 4 years straight, summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter, with only like 6 weeks off in between. And contrary to the American style of what's going on with training in baseball, I was exposed to a much more Latin style of, I played with, in my career playing down in Mexico, I played with 5 guys, Venezuelan or Dominican, that threw 100 miles an hour. And so I was very fortunate enough to kind of learn from them, watch what they do, watch their process. And the more and more I watch these dudes, the more and more I realize that their idea of strength and conditioning to ours is not even close. Like it's nowhere even close. And they love to throw a lot, and their concept of building up before the season is just so much better and different than I think the way we do it. And then you even hear about spring training now. Spring training for a lot of minor league guys, you got to show up ready to go if you're going to win a job.
Right.
So the debate and the things that I'm starting to ask people about those same things is because things like that happen where, just like us being indie ball guys and trying to get in, you got to be ready tomorrow. Doesn't matter if it's October, January, April, June, it doesn't matter. So that readiness really changed my mindset on what I was trying to do. So I'm always constantly debating. So if we take what you were saying about your process in your career, you lost 20 pounds, you lost velo, your throwing regiments and the stuff that you were doing in order to try to continue to what I call build. Do you feel like that you were doing building, or were you just pitching? Because that's where I think I like to debate in what I was doing, because I was doing a lot of what I considered building, a lot of shuffle fires, a lot of run and guns, a lot of long toss, and then not so much mound work. You know what I mean? What was your philosophy and style in that time frame?
Absolutely. I think, 2 parts. I'll first answer mine, and then I have another thing to what you were saying about when you were playing. But I was definitely just doing more. It was no building. It was just pitching. And a lot of it is I just didn't know. And I wish I knew now, or wish I knew then what I know now. It wasn't till after my second year, I started training remotely with Eric Cressy. I'm sure you know, and he had some weighted ball stuff in there for me and some other stuff to help kind of do that building. But then by then I was already I was already 25, and I was a little late to that party, I guess. So after, this is kind of a little bit different to what we were just talking about, but what kind of changed my whole mindset and everything is after my first year when I lost all that weight and I started strength training with a trainer who was with the Diamondbacks for a while. He was in the Diamondbacks organization, and then he came and started working privately in a private facility And so I started working with him, and then just the way we approached like strength training and everything just changed my mindset, the way my body felt. I was more consistent with my velo. Little things like that kind of like opened my eyes and was like, man, what have I been doing for the last however many years training wise? Like, I wish I would have known this. But so I started thinking then, like, okay, when I'm done, I want to be able to give this to athletes who are just in the gym by themselves, just going into some global gym that don't really have an idea of what they're doing. And, it's great that they're out there working hard, but if they were working hard and more efficiently towards what their actual goals are, they would see a lot better results. If I saw the results that I saw at 22, 23 in 1 year, what would they see in 3, 4, 5 years of high school, middle school and high school? And that's kind of what changed me and my mindset. And then in terms of like throwing all the time and how you're talking about how it was in the Mexican league for you, I think when I think about like year-round throwing, one, I think it's per person, and then two, I always think more right now, at least because of who I work with, is more on how the middle schoolers, high schoolers, these guys that who are a little bit younger, don't have to play for a contract tomorrow, and are basically still developing, and that should be like the number one thing they're focused on, is having developmental periods where their different goals and different time periods dictate how they're training.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. So do you have what phase are you in right now for what you guys are doing? Are you ramping up going into January and your high school seasons? And
Yes.
then how long does that ramp up period last for you guys?
Right now it's definitely starting to the ramp up, build up part of the year, and guys are starting to throw more regularly, long toss, and just working on a lot more of that flat ground stuff. And a few of the guys are hopping on the mound. I just started to do more of the pitching side. Are you there?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. It dropped off for a second, but it's okay. Well, you're good now.
All right. What the? Uh-oh.
I can still hear you though, so keep going.
All right. So basically, I haven't had as much control with the pitching stuff with these guys until just doing more and more in the last 6 months. So I'm still kind of feeling it out a little bit. But right now is definitely when guys are starting to throw more. We go out pretty much every other day. We have a long toss day, and kind of just building from there.
Yeah, I love that. We have this new place that I'm at. We have a awesome field that's like 5 minutes from the facility, and we've been really mixing in some of those days and going to their long tossing and then doing pull downs after a little Eric Yeager style. And the feeling feels really good. And those building days, I'm seeing, some of these guys that have started with me maybe 2 months ago are starting to finally see some gains on some stuff and getting some, high 80s on some pull downs and stuff and starting to move better and do everything. So that's my debate about it, because I do hear everybody say that they need a downtime and stuff like that. But personally, I was able to do it. And I know that there's a couple things that happened with me and my new business partner. He's really been intrigued with this because he came from a weightlifting side of stuff and the non-year-round throwing thing also. And I just kind of noticed with those guys that threw 100 and threw 95 and threw all the time and never really had arm issues is that they never stopped. Like they never stopped throwing. And personally, I haven't stopped throwing since I got hurt. It's been 9 years now, consistently throwing, at least long tossing once a week, and I feel fine. And I know I don't know if I'm the outlier to the situation or whatever, but a lot of my kids feel the same. Yeah. So it really, there's a debate, and I'm constantly trying to learn stuff right now. And there's something that's kind of going on where people are talking about, where the word blend is really big right now. And your body doesn't know if you're in season or out of season. And I like that understanding, because when I felt the best and I was throwing hard, I was still lifting heavy, even though it was in season, controlling when I was doing it. But, you know, I would deadlift 350, 400 on like a Monday, and then Tuesday or Wednesday still be able to come in and get a save and just be blowing 9.5s, 9.4s out there and still feel good. And then be like, is this sustainable? And then every week I'm going through it and still feeling good and kind of confused at the information that I was told to what I'm doing and feeling. And so to me, the general to the whole thing comes up with, you know, just when you throw, does your arm hurt? Which I think that's a very simple thing to ask, but I don't think a lot of people are honest with it. Is that something that you agree with what you're doing too?
No, absolutely. In terms of if someone's arm hurts or doesn't hurt?
Yeah, I mean, just general throwing motion, because that's a lot of the stuff that I do, because I try to teach guys to throw correctly first. I feel like if you can throw, you can throw. And there's no difference in pitching and throwing. So I see a big, you know, disconnect in the honesty situation, you know?
No, absolutely. I think two things. One, I see there are guys who aren't completely honest with it about how their arm is feeling. Or two, they think like pain in, let's say, like the bicep or elbow or maybe the front of the shoulder is normal because they always have it after they throw. They're like, that's normal. It's not really affecting me. But in reality, if we're moving right, we're throwing right, they shouldn't have those pains, especially in those places. And so it's getting that across to them that it's not normal. It's not regular. You shouldn't be having that pain. But I get both of those. So it's either they're not honest or no, it's normal. It's fine. I'm fine. But really, there's some mechanical breakdown somewhere that's causing you to have that pain in those places where it shouldn't be normal.
Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you this, because this is something also on building on top of that. I hear a lot of people talk about strength, right? And with that strength, I hear this phrase, and I just want to throw it out to you. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. But, you know, in the pitching world and in the rehab world, strength cures all. That's kind of a general thing. Is that something you agree or disagree with?
I would say, I say in general, I think it does. I mean, obviously it gets a little more complicated, but I think like a general rule of thumb, if we're strong enough, our bodies, I would say movement is the biggest thing. And within that strength, as long as you're moving well and you're strong, you're going to put your body in a good position to be healthy. Within that, is everybody going to have that same? Is that going to work for everybody? No. But I think it's a general rule of thumb, or a good place to start is get strong, put the body in a position to move well, and I think you're going to put yourself in a good position to perform.
Yeah, I agree. Well, cool, man. So tell everybody where you're at. How can they find you? You know, where, you know, hit up the IG, you know, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Instagram, Rossi's Training, Facebook, just Matt Rossignol, and then that's about it.
What's the name of the place that you're at?
It's Rossi's Training. It's my own place, so I don't share it with anybody. Just me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right on. Cool, man. Well, you got any other questions for me?
I think that's it. I mean, no, I definitely covered it all. It was
right on.
It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I appreciate it, man. If you guys got anything else, shoot him a DM. He's super cool. I'm sure he's got a question. If anybody's in the Bay Area and looking for a guy to go train and start throwing, this is the guy right here. You know, maybe one day we can link up. I mean, I've never been to the Bay Area, but, you know, I'd love to do a clinic or something up there. Maybe come up there and we can do some cool stuff. So we'll chat with that off air afterwards, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see what we can figure out. But guys, don't forget, please subscribe to this video, this channel. I'm pumping stuff all over here. If you want to learn how to throw any of my pitches, I got how to throw my cutter, slider, curve, change, two-seam, everything on there. And I try to, you hear the verbiage and the cues on what I'm trying to do with those things. So, you know, I think the cutter is probably one of the easiest and most deadly pitches to throw, and I don't understand why not everybody throws it. Like, I think it's that easy. So, but that's just me. Hence the Cutternation. So, Don't forget, also go check out Body Armor or Brain Armor, excuse me, with their Focus Fix and their omega-3s. And then we got our Can Nutrition guys over here with the protein and the creatine. And then don't forget to go check out, get yourself some swag on my store. Working on new hoodies, new hats, new stuff all the time. So I'm a little bit of a gear whore like the rest of us college baseball players, because everybody loves Christmas in August and January. But if you don't get that joke unless you played college baseball. So you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, bud. I appreciate it. And guys, one more thing. Don't forget, throw hard.